half in the bag. From the producers of It, it's the Child's Play reboot. And this movie proves that no one's ever really gone, especially Chucky.
I'll be back. I always come back.
150 years after the first Child's Play film and 34 subsequent sequels, we finally get the reboot that no one asked for. Child's Play tells the story of April Ludgate and her stupid son who live in a nasty apartment and have a buddy doll that goes bonkers and kills people. At least the trailers were good. Jay, you want to do this episode because you love Child's Play films?
I do.
More than me.
More than most people?
Yeah.
Probably more than is healthy?
Yeah, you're a real big fan of the Child's Play series.
Yeah. More specifically, I'm a fan of Chucky. I made an oath years ago at the top of a mountain that I would see every Child's Play movie that is ever made, and I have to stick by that. So here we are.
Yeah.
The biggest detriment to this movie is that it's called Child's Play, because it's different enough that it could have just been its own killer doll movie. They changed so much of it, it doesn't really matter, but the characters all have the same names, but they're different characters. It's odd.
It had some good laughs in it. I joked that it's a reboot in my intro there. I had kind of a different take on it while watching it. Like, instead of calling everything like a reboot or a remake, I wanted to call this a cover. Oh. You know how like a band will cover a song?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's an interesting take on that song.
Sure.
I think it's a little bit more of a positive look at it instead of just, oh, it's a reboot, it's another reboot. Because I didn't really like this movie, I'll just say that.
Oh.
I laughed sporadically. I thought the movie was kind of a mess structurally, and it lagged a whole bunch. Narrative thrust, it lacked, but I appreciate the new take on it, especially that it's basically a parody of your Google Home, or your Echo, or whatever, Siri, whatever devices that you now have that are smart.
You just set off everybody's devices by saying those names.
Yeah,
sorry, people.
It's a kind of a parody of that. There's a new 2019 take on a doll.
Yeah. Without being obnoxious. Like whenever movies deal with technology, it's always annoying and stupid, but this one feels kind of more real.
Yeah.
Like how it would really be.
Yeah. But like, if a band covers a song and they play it exactly the same, like when Weezer covered Africa.
Oh God.
And it's like virtually indistinguishable from the, you want a band to cover a song to do their own twist on it and kind of change it up, and that so super weird different style of band is covering a song by a band that's totally not their style. That's neat. I like that. So that's kind of what this felt like. But suffice it to say, the original is still better.
Yeah, it's. I was expecting, based on the trailers, for this to be a more kind of serious movie than it ended up being. The whole movie's like a joke.
It's like a dark comedy,
which I appreciated, and which made more sense when you're watching it. Why April Ludgate was in it. I like Aubrey Plaza quite a bit, especially on Parks and Rec. But when it comes to like Hollywood movies, she's always been completely misused. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates and that type of trash. And it's like, oh, so she's going to play the mom in a horror movie? That's a terrible decision. But it turns out to be great because both her and her son kind of bond over having a kind of similar sarcastic sense of humor. I liked that. The fact that they have the toys almost like a joke, where it's like, this is for younger kids, but it's kind of funny, right? So all those things, right? I thought the relationship between those two was cute.
Yeah, I mean,
and fit the tone of the rest of the movie, which I don't know. Is it fair to call it tongue in cheek?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of, it falls into that like Gremlins Krampus kind of like mean-spirited comedy vibe, which I appreciated.
Yeah, and that made the gory parts, I guess they were sort of funny.
Oh, I was laughing.
Like first of all, it's sort of muddled how Chucky comes to be. It's funny because
Oh, it's hilarious, the opening of the movie.
yeah, it cuts from this corporate advertisement for the Chucky doll, and there's this this rich family in a house, and everything's clean and nice, and it just cuts to like a dirty factory in Vietnam.
Yeah.
That's when you get the mean-spirited tone, because it's like there's this guy who's being fired, and he's like, ha ha ha, you're gonna be fired. You're going out on the streets where you came from, you filthy bum, and he's laughing at him.
So I guess we'll just say spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers,
We're just going to talk about the whole movie, but yeah, a disgruntled, suicidal employee is what created Chucky.
Right. And so in the first one, there's the element of mysticism. I think he does like a voodoo ritual.
He's a voodoo guy.
Transfer his soul.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But it's very clear cut, and his soul is hiding in Chucky's body. And that one, the big twist is, Chucky is moving for real.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
No one expects him to actually move.
They think it's the kid.
Yeah, and in the back of my mind, I haven't seen the original Chucky in so long, Child's Play. I just remember that shot where you see him run by in the background.
Sure.
And it's like, oh gosh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
This, the doll's moving right off the bat and talking and stuff. So there's a little deflation of that kind of build up in terms of like horror movie stuff.
Well, that's why I say it almost works better as its own movie if you don't even think of it as Child's Play, because it's so different.
Yeah. It works good as a comedy. I wish Chucky did more funnier, scarier things with the technology than just being like taunting and evil at the end.
That's the thing is, a detriment to this is that Chucky's not really a character. It is just a malfunctioning piece of equipment.
Right.
Which is why the first Chucky will always be the best Chucky.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! Did you fuck with me?
But they have some fun with the contrast between that, where he still has this like chipper personality, but he's doing these heinous things. But then sometimes his eyes turn red. It's like, is he aware that he's evil or isn't he? It's muddled.
See, I would have preferred it, not the technological guy who disarmed all the safety guards on purpose. And was like, I would have preferred it if there was like an accident that happened to the Chucky doll, whether he got electrocuted or fell down the stairs or something happened that messed his programming up to where he was a good guy and he didn't know right from wrong and really just wanted to be Andy's friend. But now it was established in the very beginning that he was just wrong.
Yeah, I think as a dark comedy concept, I think that works. But you're thinking of more of like horror movie structure stuff.
I'm thinking more like, clear cut. Like you said, it's unclear on what Chucky's motivation. What is Chucky's motivation?
Chucky needs motivation. He has motivation in all the original movies.
I know.
And he grows as a person. He gets a wife at one point. He has a kid. He finally embraces being a killer doll.
If this is what it takes to be human, then I would rather take my chances as a supernaturally possessed doll. It's less complicated.
I don't think I think I saw the second one. I just don't remember anything.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about that franchise is that every one of them has been written by the same guy. So over the course of however many fucking years they've been making those movies, it's had that same sort of creative voice behind it.
And the same voice actor too, right?
And Brad Dourif, who, Mark Hamill's, it's bizarre, like two childhood things coming together. Child's Play and Luke Skywalker in this movie, but he does a good job.
Don't pigeonhole Mark Hamill. He's
a very talented voice actor. He's done all sorts of stuff. And I was worried with this that it would basically just be him doing his Joker voice. But it's not. It's a little more, but because he is just a doll through the whole thing, so it has that kind of innocence to it.
He sounds like a Sesame Street character. I think that's what makes it funny. He sounds like Bert or Ernie. I'm not sure which one, but he's got that the high-pitched voice, and when he says like crazy things in that voice, it's funny. Yeah. And then it kind of takes a little, gets a little deeper.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, don't make him menacing at all if you're going to go that route. And this movie muddles that a little bit. But it's all just so silly that I was entertained the whole way through.
It just felt so stoppy-starty. And it's like, why is he killing this guy? Like, why does he kill the janitor in the basement? Why do we have this elongated? I know these are horror movies. Like, you have an elongated kill scene where,
right?
But it's like, get going. I did like the plot thread about the release of the Next Wave version 2, and then the big ending in the like dollar store or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was weird. It was called like a Kmart type store or like a Walmart, but it looked
Zedmart.
Zedmart, but it looked like a Goodwill.
It was nasty.
I thought it was supposed to be like a Salvation Army or something.
Right,
right. And I don't know if that's just like, that's the location they had, and they did some set decoration to kind of make it look like, more like a Walmart or something, but it looks like a dump. Which I guess is okay. The whole movie looks kind of dumpy. Their apartment is dirty.
Yeah, it's part of the look. Like the Zed Mart doesn't look like a big box store like a Target or a Walmart. It's not clean. It's not big. It's in like a strip mall where like a dollar store would be, like or a junk store or a secondhand store.
Yeah. It almost sort of worked as like as a contrast to like the chaos that's going on. If they were in like almost like the toy store equivalent of like an Apple store, where everything's like stark and clean. Spill some blood on those walls. That's kind of what they do in Cult of Chucky. It's in like a mental institute, but it's got like all these like completely like sterile hallways. So it's an ending like that, as opposed to being in this dumpy Goodwill looking store, I think would have been kind of neat.
Yeah. The problem too, then, like you said, the negative of the movie is that it is a Chucky movie. When you'd have a smart doll, I guess would be a term for it, from modern times, it probably wouldn't look like My Buddy doll with the suspenders and the hair and all that. Like, it would probably look more like the androgynous, like robot, like when you see the Japanese robots when they're all like white and they have the black eyes. Like
There's a recent Black Mirror episode with Miley Cyrus that sucks, but the design, it's like she's like a pop star in it, and there's this little smart robot in that's based on her. And that it has that very kind of like, what are those, like pop vinyl dolls with the big heads?
Funko Pop?
Funko Pops, yeah. But that kind of minimalist design.
Right.
It would have been more like that. And that's why I say, if this wasn't connected to Child's Play, it was just a smart device going crazy, I think it would have worked better.
Yeah, that kills and has the access to all of your technology. The fact that this weird child's doll also has, I don't know.
The look of Chucky in this is, he's actually creepier than the original. Like, I don't think the Chucky movies are scary at all. They never have been to me. I just like the character of Chucky because he's so crass.
The first one's a little scary.
The first one tries to be a real horror movie. After that, they're like, fuck this.
Oh, God.
But I think the Chucky in this is actually creepier because it's so pathetic looking. Like, when it just has its blank expression on, like, there's something about it that just looks so sad and, like, dated. Which I don't know if that's what they were intentionally going for. It's just the design is really bizarre in a way that I actually kind of liked.
It looks like a janky, cheap robot that's like his face is melting.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fit with this clean technology background.
It reminded me of, there's a lot of like Child's Play, like rip-off type movies. There's like Dolly Dearests, and there's one called Pinocchio's Revenge where the dolls look really janky. This reminded me more of that, like a rip-off Child's Play.
But you liked Aubrey Plaza in this?
I did.
Just fine.
Like I said, the kind of, like, especially with the tone of the movie where it is sort of tongue-in-cheek. So having her, like, because you can never tell when she's being serious or not, just in real life. There's always that kind of sarcastic edge. So I think casting her as, like, young, kind of hip mom, like, I thought that worked perfectly.
It was kind of like poor white trash mom, little.
Sure,
struggling single mother.
Had a child when she was very young, and
I think the original mom was more of like a working businesswoman who didn't have time, really.
Yeah, she worked in like a department store, and
played by Catherine Hicks.
Oh, from Star Trek 4.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Don't tell me. You're from outer space.
No, I'm from Iowa. I only work in outer space.
Oh, well, I was close.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut!
But I had to look up this director because I had no idea who the fuck he was. He directed a movie, I remember seeing the trailer for it at least a year ago, maybe more, in the theater for a movie called Polaroid that I was looking forward to because it looked like it could have been another Wish Upon.
It
looked so stupid. But then the movie just like never
vanished.
came out.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck happened to it.
Yeah, a haunted Polaroid picture. Polaroids are creepy.
I think you're all in danger. What are you talking about? You see that shadow? After Tyler died, the shadow moved to this photo. I think if the shadow moves to your photo, you die.
Why are Polaroids creepy? I'll tell you why.
Oh.
Because you don't have to take your Polaroid film to a developer, or you didn't back in the day.
Sure.
Everyone would take their sick, perverted sex photos on Polaroid or pictures of their murder victims.
So they didn't have to go get them developed.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so that's why it's been a staple in movies of it's
Yeah.
Polaroids.
It's always on Polaroids.
Oh,
I think
God,
is that in
this
the
guy's-
Nightmare on Elm Street remake? I think it's Polaroid.
Betcha it is.
Yeah.
Oh God, this guy just took pictures of all his dismembered corpses. He's Polaroids.
Yeah.
So Polaroids are creepy, hence they're more likely to be haunted. That's why that's a good concept for one of those like terrible movies that go in movie theaters. You know, like your wish-upons. Oh God, all the teens run. It's like creepy Polaroids. They're haunted.
My grandfather told me about Polaroids.
Yep.
Speaking of dated technology that is creepier than modern technology, I noticed this movie once in a while does like Chucky vision, and when he glitches out, there's like static. There's no static in anything anymore. When you have a TV set go out in a modern movie, it's not creepy because it doesn't go to that static.
Static's creepy because of Carol Ann.
Yes.
And that's.
Did you notice the Poltergeist 3 poster in this movie?
I did not.
The one kid's bedroom, there's like Stranger Things kids in this movie, and they sucked. They were really underwritten and underdeveloped. But that kid's room, his name was Pug, but he had a Poltergeist 3 poster and a Killer Clowns from Outer Space poster. It's like those are very specific references.
Maybe the director's a fan of those particular films.
I guess. Not even Poltergeist. Poltergeist 3. But I did like, speaking of references, Chucky kind of learns to love and appreciate violence by watching the kids watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which I enjoyed.
That was another conceptual thing that I thought would have been interesting if the doll was pure from the get-go and saw that kids today were just addicted to their devices and violent video games and movies, and they were just awful, like disassociated people who just suck. And he learned from watching their behaviors,
Sure.
and got corrupted and twisted.
It's just almost like an AI that's learning and developing, but it's learning the wrong things because kids are shitheads.
Yes, and that was its focus. But then, you have the safety guards disengaged. It's sort of like a Lieutenant Commander Data is really evil kind of moment. You know, when his circuits get scrambled and I'm going to kill you.
What are you doing?
Hold very still, counselor.
That's happened a couple of times. Not to bring up Star Trek, but then you also have the Chucky just wants to be Andy's friend, and people are interfering with that, and those that interfere with that die. You start with the cat.
Yeah.
Then you move up to the nasty, abusive boyfriend. Then
which is the best kill in the movie, unfortunately. It's the first kill.
Yeah.
Which leads to a running subplot involving them trying to get rid of the severed head, or I guess just the skinned face, on a watermelon. It's so bizarre.
This is the abusive boyfriend, right?
Yes.
And the boyfriend of Aubrey Plaza, it turns out he's married. He goes back to his home, real home.
Yeah,
and
his wife and 2 kids.
At night, he has to take down Christmas lights. It's really weird, and it's a strange setup. And then their lawn, they have a watermelon patch.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. But then, Chucky rips his face off, because he learned that from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Nails the face to a watermelon, right? And then it ends up in Andy's bedroom, and that prop face just kept making both of us laugh. Every time they would show it,
it was
we'd
great.
Just laugh. It was so stupid.
Yeah.
And then Andy and his friends wrap it in wrapping paper so they could throw it out. They get caught by Aubrey Plaza, the mom, and says, "Where are you going with that?" "Oh, I'm delivering it to the neighbor."
It's like a morbid version of a running sitcom gag or something.
Yes.
I mean, that's the same with the other Child's Play movies.
Yeah.
I definitely like that there's a certain camp element to it. And this falls right in line with that, even though it's a much different movie.
There's some good laughs. But
best, can we talk about the best laugh in the whole movie? There's the launch of the Buddy 2 dolls at the toy store at the end, or at the Kmart store. And you got the guy with the big stupid costume on.
Oh, yeah.
Chucky slits his throat. He still has the giant head Buddy costume on. And they take it off, and he just starts gushing blood all over a small child. And it just keeps cutting back to her screaming. It's like a Freddy Got Fingered gag.
I know your secret kink You fucking weirdo. Because you were the only one laughing in the theater. Oh, that's god awful. It's horrific. Oh, that child is covered with blood and just.
It's executed for laughs, though. And I will say this would have been nice to see. There wasn't a whole lot of people in our theater. There was an elderly man. There's always one elderly man whenever we go see any of these movies. And I always wonder how they ended up there. What life choices they made that brought them to Child's Play at 11 in the morning. But, I know earlier we were saying it's great to see a movie that's 90 minutes, but I would call the movie, I enjoyed it, but I would call it slight. Like, I don't know, it's not going to, like, stick with me very long.
Right.
I did enjoy it, but I also, like, the ending felt somewhat anticlimactic. Like, the massacre at the opening of the Buddy 2 was fun when he starts, there's, like, the Buddy 2, there's, like, a blonde one and a teddy bear one, and seeing that stuff was kind of fun. They didn't do enough with that. But then once that's over with, it's just, oh, the mom's tied up.
Yeah, and stabs him in the chest.
Yeah, one of the fun things about the original series is how fucked up Chucky gets towards the end.
Oh, sure.
The ending of part 2 takes place in the toy factory.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, gets his arm ripped off, and then he shoves it onto the blade of a knife, and then his legs are ripped off, and so he's like carting around on this wheeled cart. And the third one, he gets half of his face ripped off. So just like the amount of abuse he takes, and because he's kind of human. Here it's just a toy, so it's like, they rip his head off.
I don't have much more to say. Music was good.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that. Bear McCreary, who does the scores for everything nowadays, I guess, but the main theme for this movie I thought was really good. It evoked that feeling. It had that, it's like a children's music box or something.
He's popped up a few times doing scores. He did the score for Happy Death Day 2. Did you watch Happy Death Day 2?
I did. I enjoyed it.
It was a charming little romp. It stopped being a horror movie.
Oh yeah, there's not even a pretense of it being a slasher anymore.
Yeah.
It's like this goofy time travel nonsense.
Like why recreate the first one in a sequel? Let's just go off the rails. However, I thought of a title for Happy Death Day 3.
Oh.
Because it's Happy Death Day 2 You.
Yeah.
And so I saw they should definitely call the third one Happy Death Day 3, subtitle, and many more.
Oh, that's good.
Because that's the end of the Happy Birthdays. And many more. That's pretty funny, huh?
Blumhouse. Mike will accept his check now.
I just want 50 cents. That's all I want. If you title Happy Death Day 3 and many more, I want a check for 50 cents.
Okay.
That's my offer.
That seems reasonable.
For my intellectual property of that title. I just want a check from Blumhouse for 50 cents.
Okay.
So just hang it up on the wall.
All right.
That's it. Then I can say I'm a professional title maker. Title giver.
Good night, Andy.
So, Jay, would you recommend, what did we watch? Toy Story 4? Were you expecting more of like an Annabelle or that movie, what's it called, The Boy?
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like creepy doll is possibly alive and it moved. I saw it move. No, it didn't. Like that sort of thing.
Kind of like a lot of the early stuff in the original Child's Play movie. I was expecting it to kind of be more, so the fact that it feels more like, Bride of Chucky or one of the later Goofy sequels, I was surprised by that.
It went full on satirical nonsense.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah. Some satirical, almost like RoboCop stuff with the ads at the beginning for the toy. And the toy just looks so ridiculous in those commercials. I enjoyed it. It's not a perfect movie script-wise, but I was entertained.
So was that elderly man.
Was he? He went to go to the bathroom during the climax of the film. That's where you're supposed to be like glued to your seat. And he's just like, I'm gonna go piss. I'm just trying to kill 90 minutes.
Just passing the time.
I'm just passing time until I die.
That's why they got the senior rate at the movie theater, Jay.
Yeah.
They know they have nothing else to do.
They'll go see anything.
They'll literally go see anything.
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, they walk out because they only paid $1.25. Fuck it. I'll just go take a nap. And they just leave. They have nothing committed to the film.
Yeah.
They just go in, and if it doesn't,
it's just something to put in front of their face.
It doesn't catch them, they just leave. and they leave in the most loud and obtrusive and distracting manner. They get up and they check their seat. Maybell, do you want to bring the popcorn? And they get on their walkers and they slowly like make their way. And it takes like 10 minutes and you're just like, get out. Get out of the way. They make a whole production about it.
Yeah. Would you recommend the movie?